Hi guys, my name's Mitch and I'm going to be talking about creating a simple router for single-page applications using vanilla JavaScript. Sometimes using a front-end JavaScript framework can be overkill for a small application or website. This solution can give you some benefits that an SPA can give you without needing to throw a JS framework on top of it. For my example, I'll be creating a simple site which has a sidebar with navigation and 3 separate pages to visit. First, we'll start with our HTML markup. We'll create a root container which will contain our navigation and a container for our pages. From there, we'll add our links. Next, let's create our router. We're going to implement a function called route which will handle link default behavior and location changes. For this, we need to capture the click event for the link, which we need to use to call prevent default. This will prevent the anchor tag from performing its default behavior of navigating to the link target, or href. Next, we'll use the browser's history API by calling push state and passing our anchor's href value to the third argument. This will update the URL on the browser. Once this is done, we can give global access to our route function. Then we can add our script to the HTML and set our anchor tags to call this function on click. We can now test and see that clicking our links will update our URL but do nothing else. Now we need to actually handle changing our location. For this, we'll create a new function called handle location, which we'll call every time we have a navigation in our app. For this function, we'll need to capture our path name from the current location. What we can do now is define some routes for the path. To do this, we'll create an object which has possible paths as our keys and the HTML file to display for those paths as the value. In addition to this, we'll create a 404 key for routes that are not defined. Once we've defined our routes, we'll use the path name to find our desired route or default to the 404 route if that doesn't exist. Next, we need to load in the HTML for our route. We'll use a simple fetch call to accomplish this. Make a call to fetch, passing our route in as the only argument. Then we can transform our response to text. Now that we have the HTML that we want to load, we can assign it to the inner HTML of our page container. The last thing we need to do is handle browser routing functionality and first page load. This step is super simple. All we need to do is call handle location for the window.onPopState event, which will handle cases where users click the forward and back browser buttons. And then we need to make a call to handle location on page load to handle the correct page for whatever route the user first lands on. Lastly, we need to call it each time we call our route function. This will finish the override of our link's default behavior to route within our app instead. And that's it. You've now got a simple routing setup for your vanilla JavaScript single-page application. From here, there's all sorts of stuff you can do to extend this functionality and build an awesome site. If you liked the video, feel free to hit that like button and let me know, and comment down below what you think. If you want to take a look at the source code for this video, it's up on GitHub and you can find a link in the description. Thank you all for watching.